we'll open the meeting. Yeah, I just didn't wanna talk about
Yeah.
any, stuff prior to being on the record with it. So we have one person that's reached out?
Yeah, one person that attended the business forum reached out about interest about joining the EDC. Have not heard back from her, sent her a bunch of information, so it's, that's all we've heard so far, so we're definitely interested with, have a couple openings.
I know we may have talked about this, but
Yep.
do we have any budget to run like the same size ad that are like the notices for planning board and stuff like that? You know, they're like, you know, I don't, eighth of a page or whatever it is.
Yeah,
If we have budget, maybe we could say, hey, you know, whatever the copy is, but, you know, EDC looking for two new members. Here's what the duties are, get involved, this type of thing, and maybe that will entice people to pick up the phone, cause there's a lot of good people out there that probably just have no idea that this even exists or what we do, that might wanna get, you know, dip their toe in the water for town government, you know, so.
Yeah, that's absolutely a budget for that, that's no problem.
Alright.
Yeah.
Cool.
Is there anybody that, you know that could put that together, or would you do that, or what do
Yeah,
you think?
we can do that.
You
It's
can
not
do
a
that?
problem. Yeah.
And make it sound, could you just run it past me?
Yeah, of course.
I know you're gonna do it great, but I want it to be more,
Not as robotic.
not as town government.
Yep, there
You know, I want it to be more like we're actually trying to interest people as opposed to, you know, oh, this text, this data, this, you know, come in.
We'll give it some flavor.
Give it some flavor, yeah.
You want graphics?
Graphics might be good.
Alright.
Come see Beth.
Yeah, absolutely, I can run it by
Alright,
you.
cool. I mean, no, you don't have to. If you just want to do it, it's fine.
It's a good idea, I think, might as well put
Yeah,
it out there.
you never know.
For sure.
Goes out to everybody, so it's a
Yeah.
good opportunity.
Absolutely.
All right,
So.
let's take care of the minutes, I guess, right?
Yeah.
If we want to. So if someone wants to make a motion, did everybody get to read the minutes for 4/16? No, you wanna take a moment just to look at it? We allowed to do that?
Look at the minutes.
Yeah.
Yeah. Why not?
I don't know, you know, these weird
Yeah.
rules, these weird meeting rules that were written back in 1705, I don't know.
I mean, ideally, you would have reviewed them before.
Right.
But that's.
How'd springtime meeting go?
Good. Good. We got through the MBTA.
Oh, yeah.
That was probably the more controversial one. We also passed the inclusionary zoning bylaw as well, so. It's
Who put that up?
sponsored by the planning board. It was changed considerably from the one that
Started.
was about a couple years ago.
It
Yeah.
started years ago. I was still on planning board when that started.
Yeah, yeah, so the one that came forward was, I would say, much more, conservative in the sense of it was based upon, similar bylaw that Mansfield had, it was geared mainly.
So
towards-
eliminating subdivisions?
Yeah, limited subdivisions.
That
limited
was the
housing
big
trusts.
hang up
Yeah.
on the first one. I mean, that made no sense, but I'm glad they at least modified it and got it
Yep,
somewhat through.
yeah, so it's geared mostly, it's geared towards multifamily.
Yeah, which is what it should be,
Yeah.
you know. All right, everybody good?
Yep.
All
I'll
right.
make a motion to approve the 4/16 meeting minutes.
No second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed, abstained? Good. Everybody was here, right?
Yep.
Good. All right. I think this is shaping up to be a fairly quick meeting.
Yeah.
So, you've been saying that for
I know.
10 years?
Way longer than that.
So, I mean, I know we've talked about this in the past, but it was more or less, we had applied for a grant application to take a more, thorough look at our commercial and industrial zoning.
Yeah.
So, happy to report, Lauren was a huge help in terms of getting the grant put together. We were awarded that TAP grant.
Thank you.
So,
Nice.
yeah, so it's exciting, and I think part of that is I really wanna have the EDC be the committee that leads that effort, rather than just a steering committee. I think it kind of falls into, right now, the way the grant is looking at, it's unique, there's certain tasks that we're able to kind of fund and take care of right now through this grant. But we're also looking at supplementing that with a grant through EEA. It's a EEA planning grant for an additional $40,000. But the tasks that we can do right now include a review of our existing conditions. It is kind of a look regionally in terms of current trends, as well as meet with the board in a stakeholder meeting. So we're looking to hopefully get going with that in probably closer to June, July. Like I mentioned, by we I mean myself and Lauren and folks at MAPC there are kind of our consultants on this. So ideally, we would apply for that EEA grant sometime in June once it becomes available, and kind of have that work coinciding with the work that we do have funded through this grant. So, not to make it sound like it's like we can only do part of it, but I think it's just the nature of these TAP grants is they ideally want a match of some sort. So, but the work that we can do from it is it's great because it also ties into a zoning comprehensive zoning revision, which is not the most exciting project, but it is something that I think the town hasn't done in a while.
And has been talking about doing it for a long
Exactly.
time, so it's good to
Yeah.
at least have something that might move that forward
Yeah.
quicker.
And part of the reason of just going back and, hey, why don't we take a deeper focus at our commercial industrial zoning? It's something that I think you brought up was, what's been in place has been in place for decades.
Right.
And so the nature of, society has changed, locations for certain, uses have changed, and so, we wanna make sure that we're competitive, we're in a good position to attract outside businesses with, comparison to our surrounding towns, so.
Right, right.
That's the goal of it, so
Good.
excited, definitely, stay tuned, we'll have more information as we get going with that.
That's great. Thank you for that.
Yeah.
Good job, Lauren. Appreciate that.
Yeah. Yeah.
Um,
It's a team effort, but yes, thank you.
Yeah, great job.
What, kind of on the subject, have you heard anything yet? I know I brought it up last time. Has there been any talk around town hall about what is happening with the prison?
So it's kind of it's the status quo since it closed, and I know administration will check in with the state periodically and try to get an update, at least last I've heard, and it's more or less, there's no plan right now. There's no plan for the state in terms of, whether they intend to sell it
Is
or
there a
what-
set of stated options and procedure and protocol that has to be followed? Like, all right, first we have to do this, then we have to offer it to the town. If they don't want it, then we have to do that. And I just threw that in as an
Yeah.
example. I have no idea.
That I'm not totally aware of. I do know any public entity that is looking to sell land, there is a process. We talked about this before in terms
Yeah,
of
yeah.
like procurement. The town was trying to sell its own property. It has to go through it's Mass General Law, Chapter 30A. But in terms of the state property, I'm not entirely aware of that. What procedure there is there.
I was just wondering if it was kind of like
Right.
what happened across the street where the state owns it, but then once they don't want it anymore, does it revert back to the town, or, and then we do what we want? We only own part of that, right?
Yeah, the only part.
So would it revert back to the towns to figure out what they wanna do, or does the state just say, we'll do whatever we want with it? It's probably depends on how contaminated the land is, right, if they want it or not.
Yeah, I don't know what type of, I don't know if there's contamination really with that property,
Uh-huh.
compared to what's across the street at South End Hospital.
Well, they made a lot of license plates up there, so I'm sure there's something going on.
It's true.
Back in the day, I'm not kidding you, they did everything up there. All right. If you hear anything, if you do hear anything at all,
Yep.
let's just make it a point to discuss it and put it on the next agenda, whenever that is.
No, absolutely.
Whether it's next month or next year, whenever, just.
Yeah, I mean, that's something since we got word that it was closing, I think we've been all kind of, what's the next move, and there really hasn't been a lot.
The next move on that property could dictate what 1A looks like.
Yeah.
Because
Sure.
if that property is guess, adjudicated properly, we might want to run sewer and water all the way up 1A at that point, which is the
Or maybe forced to.
Or forced to.
Or get requested by.
I was gonna say,
And-
maybe
developer.
have
and
the
the-
developer do it.
right.
Yeah.
It's a long way, but the point is that I believe that the prison was one of the reasons why we didn't do it in the first place.
Really?
If I heard certain people on select board a decade or more ago talk about that, there was a worry there because of more than one town is involved in that property. You know,
Piggybacking.
piggyback, exactly, the same problem they're having up there on Route 1 with the hotel. You know, they don't wanna run it up there and then be having other places tap into that, which I don't even know if that's a concern, but that was the concern then.
Yeah.
And it caused them problems, quite frankly, at the ball field that they built. You know, they had to tap in off the neighborhood behind it as opposed to just having sewer and water on Route 1A. So, I don't know, but from an economic development standpoint, if that were brought to the next level, that property, just the domino effect could affect 1A with what could happen there, so.
I mean, I know, I think it's been referenced, in the former master plan and probably the current one too. I mean, you look at, industrial road and production.
Right.
I mean, that's another location where there's not sewer.
Right.
We do have water, obviously.
Well,
But
obviously, but-
but in terms of sewer, that does probably increase the marketability or
Absolutely.
interest in that location, so, I mean, that's, like what Brown said too, I mean, like, that's a cost that'd be created if there was a potential developer or
Yeah.
potential use for that site to help kind of cover a portion or most of that cost.
It might even prompt some people to do
Yeah.
whatever they're gonna have to do at the hospital
Site.
Yeah.
across the street. I
Oh,
mean,
yeah.
if you have sewer up there, okay, now maybe it's more viable to try to clean up that property and do something with it. I mean, what do they have, 80 acres there?
Yeah, I mean, that's a project, just offhand, and this is just from conversations with the planner next door, and then just following up, I mean, there's much more of I wouldn't say a concrete plan, but there's a lot more movement on that site.
Is there?
In terms of who bought it recently, there was an initiative by Norfolk to look at possibly doing, rezoning of that location. I think it was through MAPC actually, where they got the grant money to do that.
Yeah.
So there is an active,
good.
property owner that is probably more going to try to develop that
I
site.
noticed the sign came down, I was wondering if they just gave up on it, but that's good.
Is that property also split between Norfolk and Walpole?
A small portion, yeah, there's the water tower there that is in Walpole, but the majority of the site is Norfolk. But obviously, being that close to the
Yeah.
ball fields, it could be interesting what exactly goes there, because you have that recreational resource right there too, it's kind of.
And then on a nearer term, anything on, with the decision in Norfolk about Walpole Fire and Police, maybe getting some mitigation money to help Norfolk out, cause I heard a lot of concerns out of Norfolk that they don't have the resources to possibly.
Was this at their town meeting?
No, this
This
is.
is the with the
is-
prison, right? Is that what
Yeah,
you're talking
with,
about?
Oh, okay.
with
Not
that
bad.
prison, whatever, the minimum security
Bay State.
prison site, Bay State.
Yeah. I mean, not that I've heard directly,
Okay.
I mean, I don't wanna speak up.
Yeah, no,
I'm
don't.
not in the fire department, I can't tell you what they
Yeah,
do, but I know,
okay.
just in some situations, that, I know the towns do have kind of a cooperative,
Yeah.
working relationship, if there's a fire, if there's an emergency, if there's, I'm sure the same is for police, so.
Yeah, I was just thinking from a revenue side, if they were,
Yeah.
from that side, since it's so close, that,
Yeah, I'm not sure how much they've looked into it yet, just cause it's so recent.
right.
Have you heard anything that the state has earmarked any funding for services, first responder services for towns that are hosting a lot of
I
immigrants?
haven't heard anything. I assume they have to.
They would have to.
Yeah.
Cause you bring in that many families
Right.
that are living in temporary
Right.
spaces, they're gonna need services
Yeah.
like that, so. and that Norfolk's, that's just I don't know, that's a weird spot because there's no transportation.
But they're out in nowhere land.
That's what I'm saying, you can't get on a bus, you can't get on a train, you can't, I mean, it's gonna be an Uber,
Well, maybe they'll be
gold
busing them everywhere.
I don't know. Well,
Now, does the bus run down that way still?
No, but
No.
I'm just saying they might have
Stops at
private
the
buses
center.
going in, you know?
It stops at Center, right?
Yeah, so.
Okay.
yeah,
That's
must have a
not
plan, right?
That's better.
It'll be in Walpole Center, so coming into Walpole, and there's nothing in Norfolk for them.
Maybe they'll make something in Norfolk.
Maybe.
Maybe they'll put like a Stop and Shop or something up, you know?
Maybe not enough for-
Next to
Yeah,
Silla's.
yeah, I don't know
Hopefully
about
this
that.
is all short-term
Yeah.
problems.
Yeah, keep dreaming.
So yeah, so I mean, the next thing on, I know we've had this on a few different agendas, but I know we're getting into the spring, just kinda wanna touch base, on Main Street Live. And John Shalvey, I know is not longer part of the committee, is still, you know, awesome, you know, he's been trying to coordinate with food trucks.
Oh, great.
I did print out, I'm sorry I don't have one for everybody, but we have a lot of the usual, attendees.
Yeah, me and him had like a Zoom call. I was
Yeah.
like, will you teach me your ways? And he copied me on all like the emails to
Okay.
these folks.
Yeah.
And he was like, I'll give you the spreadsheet. He's like, I'll do it with you this year and then next year you can take it over unless somebody else wanted to do it, but
Oh, that's great.
presumably.
Yeah, so there's 8 confirmed,
Yeah.
Oh, good.
vendors so
Oh,
far,
good.
so I mean, we're slowly making progress, and.
What did we have last year? Do you remember off the top of your head?
Oh,
You know, trolley dogs.
No, not who, how many?
Oh, how many?
I feel
Yeah.
like we had over 10, at least. I know there was a lot that kinda came out at the last minute too, which was kinda helpful, so the ones that are on there now, just to kinda run through them, you know, Captain Martin's, Trolley Dogs, Republic Barbecue, Thank You Barbecue, Wine Jim Shaved Ice, Grandy's Ice Cream, Sausage Guy, and Episcopal Church with, Strawberry Shortcake, so those are the usuals,
Yeah.
they've been with us every year, so, yeah, still some room.
Yeah, there's some room there, we need to backfill a lot of that, I mean, we always have like desserts covered with Grandy's and, you know, there's also a few other things.
Yeah.
We just, last year seemed to work out good, timing wise, but there have been years where at 8:30, the trucks that we had were out of food, that's it, done.
Okay.
And that's not the best thing. And between Captain Martin's and the 2 barbecue trucks, which are awesome,
Yeah.
all 3 of them, and the sausage guy. But primarily, Captain Martin's and the 2 barbecue, while they usually sell out, they are not the affordable option. So we have to try, and even Trolley Dogs, as good as they are, is not necessarily an affordable option. So we should try to mix in a couple where,
Yeah.
you know, a family could, you know, mom, dad, and 2 kids would be under $150, you know what I mean? Which is, you know, if you're
Does
at,
that exist?
well, I mean, it should exist on a food truck, I think, you know, so
Yeah.
it would exist if the Lions had their big setup, but, you know.
Mhm.
And I know it's been talked about before in terms of, I think last fall, there was pizza.
I was actually gonna ask
Yeah,
about
somebody
pizza,
brought,
but-
no, that was because
That was the
of
guy,
your-
yeah, that was the guy that did the, he was
He was a sponsor.
sponsoring.
Yep.
And he brought his wood stoves.
He brought his pizza ovens
But it
for,
was-
for
Right.
I
outside.
think it was Supreme, that was the.
And Supreme was
Yes.
supplying them the pizzas to,
I'll ask the Lions again, we just did Walpole Day, and we sold out, we sold out of everything, we were with the barbecue, the 2 barbecue
Yeah.
trucks, and what was the sausage guy, and the trolley dog.
Yeah.
And we were selling hot dogs and chicken fingers and french fries, and that was it, and we sold out.
I know, yeah, I was
We were like,
pissed, I wanted to go over and get a cheeseburger, and I'm like, what, there's nothing on that list.
Yeah.
But
I'll
what-
ask them if we have a little spot, but we're gonna need a spot, you wanna put us like, they're gonna ask.
Why don't you say this? If they're interested,
Mhm.
we'll find them a spot,
Okay,
you know what I
I think
mean?
they should be selling burgers and dogs, or burgers and chicken fingers.
Whatever kids
Something
want.
Because,
different.
because we
Yeah.
sell we sell
Burgers, chicken fingers, and fried dough, do they still have the fried dough thing?
But we have the fryer laters, but I think if we're gonna, it has to be either or, cause we needed those 2 fryer laters, one was kinda on the frets, 2 fryer laters that we use,
What do you do, like french fries and chicken fingers?
french fries and chicken fingers, and then we did the hot dogs on, boils, and then if somebody wanted them grilled, we throw them on the grill. So they were in pans on the grill.
Got it.
And then we put them in, and I would throw them in the rolls, or what have you, so you could have chicken fingers and french fries for, how much was that? Chicken fingers and french fries for $9 maybe?
I feel like I bought them too and I have no idea.
Did you were there?
Yeah,
Oh, okay,
I brought my
didn't see you.
kids.
Okay, okay, I was probably had my back to you. And then the hot dog and chips was like $5.
See,
So I'll
you
ask
know,
them
I
all.
don't,
So,
the first couple of years, we had to be cognizant of the food trucks putting the event on their calendar as, you know, one of their must
Yeah.
attend events. And now I think we're kind of there with a lot of these ones that have come out. I think they all sell out.
Yeah.
There's no worries there. So now I think that, you know, regardless of what anyone says, I don't believe there are a lot of parents there buying a $27 lobster roll for their kid. So I don't think it's gonna affect, you know, if the, so if,
Or for himself.
so if the Lions are there pumping out kid-friendly food,
Yeah.
I don't think it will have an impact on our food trucks.
I don't either.
So I think that would be a good
So-
plan
so-
if we could do it.
Okay, so on top of that, so should I say burgers, hot dogs and chicken fingers?
Sure.
Yeah, cause I don't
Okay.
think that, I mean, it
That's
might
fine.
overlap
Yeah.
trolley dogs with their dogs,
But
but
trolley dogs are sitting right next to us on Wobble Day.
and trolley dogs is a whole different deal. I mean, that's still like a $15, $18 hot dog, you know?
It's
Very
a sausage guy.
specific.
Right.
Yeah.
Alright, I'll ask them, see if they're interested. Let's date again.
September 20th.
And they did good on Walpole Day in terms of, they thought it was worth it?
Yeah. Yeah, it was chilly that day.
It was chilly that
It was
day, I
chilly.
remember, I walked down
It was
there,
chilly, yeah. Yeah.
It was a good,
It was sunny out, but it was chilly.
it looked, I thought the event was great though, I
I
haven't
didn't
gone
start,
in a couple of years.
I got to afterwards, I got to
Yeah.
where the 300th committee was, and then I looked out in the field, but I don't know who was out, I don't know who was beyond that, cause I never walked around to see,
Yeah.
cause it was getting close to 3 o'clock, so people were wrapping up.
Yeah, it's definitely gained traction, it's a good event.
Yeah, it is a good event.
So I think I was away at the meeting in March, but did the date get picked already? Or am I the
Yeah.
one in the dark?
No, so it's September 20th. It follows
Okay.
the usual pattern of the third Friday of
Yeah.
September.
Which is late, but it's just it's the late
Yeah.
year, you know? Then
Okay.
next year it'll probably go back to, you know, 11th,
Somewhere in the
13th,
teens, yeah.
12th, you know, and then,
I think that's a good date,
Yeah.
because people are gonna settle back to school
Right.
and.
right.
Yeah, and then just full disclosure, I know there's like 2 family weddings in September, I gotta go check that. I'll let you know next
You
meeting.
can't go to the weddings. You're a bigger helper up there on that.
Well, we don't know who's someone's gonna have to sell tickets, so.
You know.
Is Main Street Live part of the Walpole 300? Is
No,
that,
no.
is it all, it's not?
No,
Totally
but,
separate.
but it's actually, you bring that up, and that might be an interesting idea to reach out to them as well, just to have a presence there.
300th, I can
Yeah.
ask them on that committee, I'll ask them if they wanna be there.
When's your next meeting?
It'll be in June, the second Tuesday, it's the same in Chambers, so the second Tuesday in June.
Where do you have those meetings?
Blackburn, you wanna come?
Yeah,
Okay.
I just wanna put together some ideas, see if the
Do
300.
you wanna reach out to Bill Buckley straight yourself?
I can,
Or
if
do
you
you
want
want-
me to.
You're friends with him, right?
I am an acquaintance of his, but I've talked to him a few times, but
Do you want me to just?
it doesn't matter to me, either. Whatever you think is more appropriate, I don't mind doing.
He
You just say,
knows you.
you just
Just
say you
reach
just
out
talked
to
to me
him.
and I just said reach out to Bill
Yeah.
directly.
Yeah,
Take
no, I'm
it.
not worried about reaching out to him, I just.
Okay,
you
yeah,
know.
why don't you just reach out to him directly then?
And the whole point of it would be that having some ideas, coming in and asking if the committee would be,
'Cause they have-
interested in getting
They have
involved.
merchandise and
Yeah.
stuff that they could sell like they were doing at Walpole Day.
Can they do the trolley tours again?
I don't think we're talking about the trolley tours again.
They were bumping all day.
Yeah, I totally missed the trolley
I didn't get
tours.
to do it either because
For Walpole Day?
Yeah,
What were they touring?
slinging.
the historic sites in Walpole was $5. There was an hour-long tour and and with kids, like, I wasn't able to bring my cherubs.
Went by
I'm not even
your
sure,
old-
I would do it.
It's really cool though.
Went by my old house?
I didn't have, I would like to
Shit,
have done it
man.
myself in a fourth
Excuse my
generation
language on
program.
camera.
I couldn't leave the lines.
My husband told me to go by
Believe me,
myself,
I get
and I
calls
was
from
like,
my old
I
neighbors
feel
saying, come over and mow it
maybe I
yourself.
should be doing that
Come
right
mow it
now.
yourself.
It just didn't-
I think they mow it
Really?
once a year,
Oh,
yeah.
wow.
All right,
So, yeah, so obviously the food trucks, you know, in good hands, permitting, it's all been submitted recently, I know, I think we, recertification for tips.
I'll check mine, I know it's not.
Mine's, I'm up to date.
I don't know, I forget how many years they give you, but I'm either up to date 4,
Three.
3?
I think,
I'm right on the cusp, but I'll check.
I
If I
just-
need to do it again, I'll do it again.
I think the idea is like August of, 24.
So that's what mine is?
Yeah, so it just expires. But if you have
Mine's
one,
up to date,
yeah.
I just had to redo mine, so.
Would you
And
be able
Danelle, what do you need, a copy of it?
just even a confirmation that you have it.
I think I'm gonna have to, so, if you don't mind, I'll look for it right now, cause I
Yeah.
don't have my pictures here.
So that's it.
It's, Danelle, that's his too,
I believe we all do.
yeah, we do.
Just
Danelle
because
has
we
his, but-
all wear different hats and could wear the same hats
Mhm.
depending on needs, so. It's good to have anyway.
Look at that. Oh, that's the old one. Okay, never mind.
So yeah, then the banner and sign program, I'll just kick that off after the 4th of July is all.
Oh, okay, yeah,
I'll probably
good.
reach out in June for an updated list, so I can do that email blast.
Is
Absolutely.
there any complication with that? The reason I'm asking is are there people that paid for 2 years?
Well, it rolled from whatever, 300 to 200 to 100. So the final 100s would be this year.
But all that, you have all that data, so you know.
Yeah, we have all the
Okay.
numbers and stuff, so.
Cause I know Brian was heavily involved in that.
Well, I
with you.
ran the numbers for him.
You did,
so-
okay, good.
so- But yeah, we kept track of that together.
Yeah,
But yeah, I have all the data who, you know, when we reach back to people, cause we
Good.
still have their signs, so. And then, I think, you know, we made a decision, the 4th, 5th, 6th year would just keep charging you the $100. But,
good deal.
right, gratuity.
Another thing that kind of crossed my mind earlier, and I know this was an issue last year, barricades.
Yeah, we lost our barricades, so we're gonna have to, I was hoping in the postmortem that we would talk about any negative effects of not having the barricades last year. Like, is there any empirical evidence that they make a huge difference, other than what people feel like? And I'm with you, I
Yeah.
like the barricades, much more than not having them, but what's the reality? What, was it worse without them? I don't wanna spend $2,000 on barricades,
Yeah.
you know what I mean?
No.
Unless
Do we even know what we have, do we even know what we have for money in that account right now? Danelle has all that.
Yeah, Danelle has all that.
Okay,
Well, he had sent it out after the fact, right, so they're in the old emails.
Okay.
And I'm not,
I don't think, even if we had, I don't think
I'm
we
not-
had the 2,000 even spent on a barricade.
Could you rent them?
oh no, yeah, we do, if we
Yeah.
wanted to.
Okay. I don't think we did for some reason. Alright,
Well, why don't we
sorry.
add that for the June meeting and.
Is that, are you hearing from someone on that?
No, I just
That
like.
wants those?
It crossed my mind about
Okay.
last year. Was it fine for this past
I don't,
year?
I mean, there were no issues,
Then-
but barricades are better. My biggest fear every year we didn't have the barricades was a little kid running out in the street
Yep.
Yeah.
between cars, and, you know, that's always a worry, but the barricades kind of alleviated that a little bit.
Yeah, I mean, what was the, like,
There's a lot of cars trying to squeak by roads that they're
Yeah,
not
yeah.
used to being closed, you know, and they,
Yeah.
I hate to,
and
You
there's,
said you did have those barricades, was that a rental, or was that somebody that?
that was Joe
Yeah,
Grant.
Yeah, he just
Okay.
did.
Joe
So he
Grant just
volunteered.
volunteered them,
Yeah.
which was
Okay.
great, but
Yeah.
obviously he's in a different role now.
Yep.
You might be able to get somebody else to rent them, something similar.
There's like,
I could
almost
definitely do
900
look into
feet.
it. Is
That's
it
a lot.
900 feet?
800, between 800 and 900 feet.
Okay.
It's a lot.
Yeah.
It's a lot to, it's not a lot for the World's Fair, it's a lot to
Mhm.
donate,
Yeah.
you know what I mean?
Yeah.
It's a lot to volunteer,
Mhm.
cause now it's not just a couple of them on the back of a pickup truck, now it's like a process.
Yeah.
Let me, I'm not sure.
If you know someone at United,
At United?
if you know someone at United Rentals or something that, or if someone at DPW does,
Yeah. I'll look it up.
Yeah.
But just out of curiosity, I remember that being a thing last year, so.
yeah, no, that'd be great. And depending on, I know I always say this, and it's becoming the bane of my existence as well, but we really don't know how much money we have until almost like a couple of weeks before, because sponsors keep coming in, and it would be nice to plan, but it's one of those in-between events.
Yep.
You know, it's not the Stones, so we're not planning those sponsors a year out, 2 years out. But it's also not, it requires more than just like banners and signs to make it happen, you know?
No, if you didn't
So
have
it's
those major
kinda in between
sponsors,
and,
there'd be no event.
right. But anyway, we've always pulled it off, so I don't think we're not gonna this year. Besides, I can ride on the back of the 300, right? Yeah, that's good. I'll say Beth said I could.
That's
I say that a lot, you don't even realize it.
it.
Yeah, but Beth said. Usually when we're getting the beer and everything for backstage with musicians, I always say Beth said, it's okay. All right,
So,
does anybody have any, I learned this the hard way, so, does anybody this early in the game have any concerns about Main Street Lab this year with the change in the committee and the change in the people? Is there something that we should focus on that has the ability to fall through the cracks because we don't have some of the people that have been involved? Anybody foresee anything like that happening?
My only concern, it's been 3 years running, is boots on the ground on
Right.
that Friday.
That is the hardest
And
thing.
maybe
Yeah.
because of some folks, we pulled it off, you know, with working 8-hour shifts and not
I know.
taking breaks,
I know.
but, you know, that's my only concern. I think everything always, it's like anything, it runs itself, but, you know, without, you know, you're down a body or two,
Yeah.
or a body, but it's also people, you know, did a yeoman effort, which I think we'd all do.
How many members are active in the Lions, like active?
Probably 12.
How many do you need to run that food booth?
We had 5 at Walpole Day.
And it was all right?
Well, could have used a couple more hands, but it's okay, we did it. Literally, Joe on hot dogs, Eddie on french fries and chicken fingers. I was in the middle, putting things together and then turning around and handing them off to Joanne. And my
So,
people collecting money, and that's how we did it.
do you think there are any others that might be able to overflow into the bar if they choose to do the food that night? Cause you'll do well that night. I'm not saying they owe us anything, what I'm saying is,
If we need
because we
help.
need volunteer help on the bars and tickets, maybe running that by the Lions might help too, to get
Okay.
a couple of bodies.
We'll just volunteer that for the night. I'll ask them that anyway, regardless whether they're.
Any junior women in here? Your
No.
wife
Yeah.
is,
No, and
Big into that, yeah.
they came out of nowhere last year,
They
and
do
the year
help quite a
before,
bit,
they'll
yeah.
help, but,
Yeah.
yeah,
they, you know, we used a couple people there, I used a couple people, you know, friends
yeah.
kind of thing as much as possible, so.
We
you know,
float
that's
around, we float, wherever we need somebody, we kind of find somebody,
Right.
we,
But we
Yeah,
have
and
been,
it's happened on the
we have
ground
been
too.
saved
Yeah,
though
yeah.
we have been saved in the past by the Junior Women's Club, they've
Yeah.
stepped up.
So, you know, I'll reach out to them earlier, you know, let Sue talk to them and,
Are there any other
because they just
organizations?
had their last meeting, so,
yeah, a couple phone
yeah,
calls.
yeah.
They owe me, they were on my backyard Saturday, getting.
Are there any other organizations like that in town that might be interested in sending some volunteers if we can give them some? Cause we don't do any booths for free, but we would do them to trade if someone wanted to
Can we use the
get
National Honor
involved.
Society for the ticket sales?
I was thinking that, or like Girl Scouts or something, I don't know if we have like Girl Scouts or Boy Scout troops or anything.
I think the National Honor Society would be a go-to, they always need projects, they always need their service projects. And they need, I think, 80 hours.
That's a good one.
They
And
used-
they're older.
Yeah, but I don't know if they
Yeah.
can sell beer and wine.
No.
No,
just
but they
the
can sell tickets.
Just the
Right.
tickets,
Just
not,
the-
that's
okay.
it, or, yeah, just the tickets. They wouldn't be selling anything except for tickets.
That's a good idea.
For my tips thing.
They don't have to tie that service to any kind of a charity or anything?
I don't know the answer to that. I don't think that, I think it's community service hours. And that would be great, cause there's a ton of kids, you know?
I just wanna make sure that it would like qualify for them, you know what I mean? And I don't know what their rules are, cause I know like at Fian, they had to do, over the course of their 4 years, they have to do a certain amount of hours of service. But not everything qualifies, you know, you can't say I helped my aunt at her hair salon, that, you know, for free. That's not service. Service is different than that, so just wanna make sure we qualify for that. And it might be something that we can do to make it qualify, you know, versus not, and then they.
It's a town event. It's,
Yeah.
affects, you know, public service.
Right, as long as it, well, like I said, I don't know what the National Honor Society's
Right.
criteria is, so we should, but that's a great idea, Beth, I would definitely reach out to them.
Do you want me to reach out to them? Are you reaching out to the National Honor
So
Society?
if you can and they can talk to me, I just have, my only reservation is it gets kinda crazy and you whip around 5s and 20s left and right.
Well, yeah, right.
And my only concern is somebody get some 17, 18-year-old kid get overwhelmed, cause at 64, I was overwhelmed one year with people throwing money in my face and everything else, but, you know, if they're interested, I'm not gonna say no.
Okay, all right, I'll reach out to them.
Okay.
Okay.
The last item I have on here is kind of interesting. It's more or less just a kind of a discussion item. So Boston 25 News is doing a trip to Walpole on August 16th.
Amazing.
Yeah.
Great.
Not the first one,
No?
What?
But-
We gotta go check
no,
out
Yeah.
they did it back when they
Yeah.
first
Oh,
started
that's
doing
cool.
them, yeah.
Oh, fun.
Yeah. So I mean, it's still kind of in the works in terms of, it's up to them in terms of what type of presence they want there and
Right.
anything like that, but
Yeah.
I kinda wanna have, you know, EDC just, aware on notice. I know we've done work with Main Street Live in terms
Yeah.
of trying to get local businesses, you know, involved.
Is that what they look for, is like
That's-
some business booth? When I see them, I see
Yeah.
like, you know, Dunkin's is there and like the local bank will be there and stuff
Yeah.
like that. But they don't really show much of,
Local.
they like will
Yeah.
go to a local booth
Got it.
and they'll do like a quick interview,
Yep.
but they never pan back and let you see like how many people are actually there or how many booths are there. So I don't have a good feeling as to what they're looking for. you
Yeah,
know?
and neither do I right now, that's why I just kinda wanna more or less be aware. I mean,
Yeah.
once I get a little more information, I mean, anything in terms of just, you know, talking to local, you know, downtown businesses,
Yeah.
restaurants, anything like that, would be a good opportunity there.
I'm sure they'll tell you what they want.
You know, they usually come out, 'cause I know Sue's company sponsored it with them one year.
Oh, yeah?
You know, for the 5 or 6 towns, and, you know, they knew to say, okay, as a sponsor or whatever, they got a booth, but I don't think my take is
Yeah.
it's more, you advertise, you know,
Yeah.
for the event, they'll give you space, but, they'll decide what they wanna do, or people will reach out to them and maybe for the right fee, they'll give them the
Hey,
booth, right?
I know
We
that. I know that deal.
So,
Alright.
I'm always the bad guy at Main Street Live time. No, I gotta ask Mark, no. Oh, but it's Walpole. It's the such and such group. We need, yeah. Tell that to these guys that are writing checks, you know?
But yeah, so just,
yeah.
if I get
that's
more
awesome.
information, I'd be happy to kind of, you know, bring that up for another meeting, you know, as we get closer, I guess, June or July. But That's it, really, for today.
Try to get Gene Levanchi to be the MC for Main Street Live, that'd be good.
There you go. Does he have to pay in too, or is it?
Of course. Fox 25, I wanna check from, who's up there, is that Odyssey, who owns that now? Cox Communications, I think
Yeah.
it's them, right?
It could be.
Yeah. Man, who cares? Hey, Gene's had a good run up there, the Pride of Walpole. I think he's been there since day one,
Wow.
at least 4 years ago?
That's how long it's been?
Getting up at 4 AM, God bless them.
Probably earlier than that, it's probably gets there at
Right.
probably 3.
But yeah, well, all right, so who's the person that they get in touch with at the town to do that?
I think Jim, probably.
But then who is Jim hand any of the logistics off to? Do you know offhand? I mean, Jim's not gonna be running around trying to figure out who to deal with stuff.
I think it's more or less a collective.
Okay.
I don't think there's any like committee or group that.
I wonder if they,
but-
I wonder if they have it in their head who they reach out to at these certain towns to make this kind of thing
I
happen.
bet they do, and it's probably, a well-run process now, I mean,
Like maybe recreation or something.
yeah,
Could
it's a
be.
good look.
Yeah.
Now, is any decision where they're gonna be located is
Last time they were at the, where the bandstand is.
Yeah, I think that's similar. I mean,
gonna, on the common,
Yeah.
okay.
Great.
Well, if they need any help or they need any, obviously,
Yeah, no, absolutely. That's why I wanted to have that on there, just to get you guys on notice and get a little more information. Hopefully, we'll bring it back to you in June. Yeah.
Good.
sounds good.
And I'll get that, I'm trying to find that, I can't find it.
Your tips thing still?
Yeah, I don't know where it is.
It'd be faster for you just to take the test again and renew it.
And now I'm wondering if I think I renewed it, and I didn't. I know I renewed it, I just don't know when I did. I don't know if I.
It's out of this too, but that's your copy, so I could just do it in the spreadsheet that I have in my email, but I'll do like an updated
Oh,
copy.
cool, yeah. Thanks.
All right.
Well,
Anybody want to, make a motion?
I'll make a motion to adjourn.
I'll second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed, abstained? Good deal.
I'll second.